Skeletons are one of the most common enemies in Minecraft, and they've left a big impression. From the millions of rage quits they've caused to their duels to the death, these guys are a beloved entry to Minecraft's mob list. You guys voted for them to be next in the series, and there isn't a better time of year to talk about them, so today I'm going to talk about every Minecraft skeleton across all of Minecraft's games. But first, if you're enjoying the series, please like and subscribe. We're trying to reach 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and that's getting pretty close, but I think we can do it. Also, if you missed the first 3 episodes, you can check out the playlist in the description. Now let's talk about skeletons. Okay, first off, I want to clarify some things. Yes, every mob presumably has a skeleton, but I'm only counting the things that are fully bone or have skeleton in their name. Zombie piglins have visible bones, but are called zombies, not skeletons. And there are plenty of mobs that use bones in their model or texture, but are still living, so they don't count either. Whereas things like the Wither or the Necromancer are skeletons because they're undead and are made entirely out of bone. I'm just saying this because I knew there would be a lot of questions in the comments, and hopefully that clears things up. Let's start at the beginning. Skeletons spawn most commonly in the overworld at night or in almost every cave biome. They also spawn in soul sand valleys, nether fortresses, dungeons, and trial chambers. They are classified as undead, so they take more damage from smite attacks, are damaged by healing potions, and burn in sunlight. They use a bow to attack with, and attack the player, iron golems, and baby turtles. They are afraid of wolves and will run away from them. When they spawn, they have a chance to have enchantments on their bow or wear armor. They can pick up dropped armor and tools, and if they pick up a melee weapon, they will no longer be able to use a ranged attack. 1% of all spiders that spawn will have a skeleton riding on their back. Skeletons have a few different behaviors between games. On Java Edition, skeletons will strafe back and forth to avoid hits. They can also sprint towards the player if they are at least 14 blocks away from them. On Bedrock Edition, they will not move when shooting, and they stop shooting when they are underwater, switching to a melee attack. Also on Bedrock, the closer to the skeleton the player gets, the faster the skeleton shoots. One of my favorite Easter eggs in the game is that skeletons have an 11% chance to spawn with a bow in their left hand, matching the real-world statistics of right and left-handed people. They will drop bones, arrows, and have a chance to drop their bow or armor if they're wearing it. They will drop their skull if they're killed by a charged creeper. Wither skeletons spawn exclusively in nether fortresses. They are 3 blocks tall, and they're the only skeleton variant to not attack using a bow. They use a stone sword, but that's not what makes them so deadly. When they attack, they inflict the wither effect. This does damage over time, but unlike poison, it can kill you. In addition to attacking all of the normal skeleton things, they will attack both variants of the piglin. They're immune to wither and fire damage. If they're summoned with a bow on Java Edition, they will shoot flaming arrows. They drop their sword, coal, bones, and they're the only mob that can naturally drop their head. It's a very low chance though, and there's still an 100% chance to drop it if they're killed by a charged creeper. Bogged spawn in both variants of the swamp and in trial chambers. They act very similarly to the normal skeleton, except they shoot poison arrows and have a slower attack speed. They can be sheared to drop mushrooms, which might be the weirdest thing you can do in Minecraft. And they drop their bow, bones, arrows, and poison arrows. Strays spawn in all of the snowy biomes, in trial chambers, and on Bedrock they spawn in cold oceans. When skeletons fall into powdered snow, they turn into strays. Like the bogged, they're just skeletons, but they shoot arrows tipped with slowness. They drop bones, arrows, and slowness arrows. Skeleton horses are the only passive skeleton in Minecraft. They spawn in skeleton traps, which have a chance to appear when lightning strikes. When you approach it, it will split into 4, and skeletons with enchanted bows and enchanted iron helmets will ride them. If you kill the skeletons, you can ride the horses, and it has the unique property of being able to be ridden underwater. On Bedrock Edition, you don't need a saddle to be able to steer it. Oh boy, this is a tough one. Don't quote me on this, but the Wither might be the mob with the most differences between versions. Let's start with the things that are the same. The Wither is spawned by placing 4 soul sand or soul soil in a T-shape and placing 3 Wither skulls on top. It will take a while to fully form, and when it does, it will explode and begin flying around. The fog darkens while the player is near it. When it takes damage, it breaks every block in a 3x4 radius, excluding the unbreakable blocks, reinforced deep slate, and extended pistons. It shoots explosive skulls that come in 2 variants, a black and a blue one. The black one is faster than the blue one, but the blue one can destroy all the blocks the Wither itself can, and it causes a way bigger explosion. They attack basically any mob besides ghasts and all of the other undead mobs. When they kill a mob, it will place or drop a Wither Rose. When it reaches half health, it's given a shield that blocks projectiles, but it lowers to the ground. They drop a Wither Star on death. But that is far from the end of this mob. On Java Edition, the Wither has 150 hearts. When it spawns, it plays a noise that every player on a server can hear. Its individual heads work separately, and the side heads have a longer skull cooldown. But that's pretty tame compared to the Bedrock version. For some reason, this thing is insanely powerful. Its abilities scale by difficulty. On Easy, it has 150 hearts and acts pretty much the same as the Java Wither. But on Hard mode, its health is doubled, and it gains new powerful abilities. It sets the mood by darkening the sky and making it so undead mobs don't burn in daylight. It stays out of the player's reach until it reaches half health, when it explodes and summons 3 Wither skeletons. It intentionally seeks out the player and will chase it through walls. It gets a new dash attack that will break any non-blast resistant block in its path. This gets very dangerous after it hits half health. When you kill it, it will pulse and then explode. The Wither star it drops will never despawn. Okay, now onto Minecraft Earth. Like always, the skeleton in Minecraft Earth acted almost exactly the same as the normal Minecraft skeleton. There's really nothing to say about this guy, so let's move on. Someone was copying a certain YouTuber when they made this one. The skeleton wolf acted like a wolf, but it was hostile towards the player. It had the ability to howl, which buffed other skeletons in the area with a damage boost. They dropped bones on death. Finally, the bone spider looks like it's a skeleton, but that's confirmed to be a skin pattern and not actual bones, so we'll talk about them in a future episode. Next up is Minecraft Dungeons. Skeletons in Minecraft Dungeons spawn in basically every level except for the Nether and End levels. They shoot arrows at the player, and they will always try to stay a certain amount of space away from them. The first stronger variant uses a reinforced mail helmet and a longbow, and the second wears a full set of armor and uses a power bow. In Minecraft Dungeons Arcade, they have melee variants that use daggers and swords. It has an ancient variant called Barrage. It's enchanted with Ricochet, Rapid Fire, Accelerate, and Multi-Shot. 20 skeletons with Accelerate spawn as minions. It will drop Gilded Bows, Hunter's Armor, and Soul Bows. Mossy skeletons spawn in all of the jungle levels. They act exactly the same as a normal skeleton, but their shots inflict poison. Strays are just the same thing again, but instead of poison, they inflict freezing. They don't have stronger variants and spawn in all of the creeping winter levels. Sunken skeletons are a bit more interesting. They spawn in all of the water-based levels, use a crossbow, and shoot harpoons instead of arrows. Its first variant replaces the purple coral with red and uses a heavy crossbow. Its strongest variant has yellow coral and uses a saber wing bow. Wither skeletons spawn in all of the Nether levels. They use a retextured sword to make it black. It has 2 attacks, which both inflict wither. It stabs the player, which does less damage than its strong attack, which is an overhead swing. If the player is far away, they will lock onto them. They sprint towards the player and will not run away after attacks. Wither skeleton archers act like skeletons, but their arrows are dark and inflict wither. They use a red snake bow to attack. Vanguard are special skeletons that spawn in ruin-based levels. They wear armor and use a shield and a glaive. The shield prevents them from taking any damage from the first attack that hits them. They have some of the most range of any melee mob in the game, making them tricky to deal with. Its ancient, called the Cursed Presence, is enchanted with Poison Cloud, Gravity, and Chilling. 15 zombies enchanted with Burning also spawn. It will drop Gilded Cutlasses, Phantom Armor, and Soul Crossbows. Necromancers spawn in the Desert Temple levels and rarely in a few others on Apocalypse difficulty. They shoot out blue blasts that do damage on contact. If there aren't any nearby, they will summon zombies from the ground until there are about 7 of them. These can get overwhelming in large groups of enemies. Its ancient is called the Haunted Collar. It's enchanted with Accelerate, Rapid Fire, Gravity Pulse, Regeneration, and Fire Trail. 6 skeleton horsemen with Cowardice are its minions. It will drop longbows, rapid crossbows, sickles, and Splunker's armor. Skeleton horsemen spawn in Cacti Canyon, and on adventure difficulty spawn in a bunch of new levels. There will always be 4 of them, just like in normal Minecraft. They have mini-boss bars and will circle the player and shoot them with their bows. They will randomly ambush the player, and if you aren't expecting them, they can be deadly. The Nameless one is the final boss of the Desert Temple level. You start the fight by approaching him in his crypt. When you interact with him, he rises up and then teleports away. He shoots out green blasts similarly to the Necromancer. He will occasionally charge up his staff and then summon a line of Vanguard. He teleports away from the player and will sometimes summon duplicates when doing this, which shoot a blast and then disappear. Finally, I know wraiths have skeletal features, but they're classified as their own thing in the game. I was surprised by this, but I'll be covering them in a short that should be out soon. In Minecraft Legends, skeletons are spawnable after you defend the skeleton homestead. They shoot arrows and have the ability to shoot over walls. They take more damage from chop, charge, explosion, crush, and roll attacks. They act as glass cannons, doing a lot of ranged damage but not having a lot of health. Surprisingly, they are currently the only skeleton to be based off of a villager. In Minecraft Story Mode, skeletons appear in almost every level in Season 1. They shoot arrows at our heroes and can be annoying in combat sections. In A Block in a Hard Place, a spider jockey is seen in the background. In Access Denied, Pama controls some skeletons throughout the compound. In Season 2, strays appear in the level Giant Consequences. They spawn outside of Beacon Town on the way to the tower. Instead of shooting slowness arrows, they just shoot regular arrows. The final mob on this list I had no idea what to do with. The Wither Storm in Minecraft Story Mode kind of counts, but also doesn't at the same time. It's summoned by Ivor in the first episode and appears in the next 3 before being defeated, but it's only a skeleton at the very beginning. After that, it covers its body in blocks, making a sort of skin. And can that really be called a skeleton? You guys voted that I should include it, but in the comments you were all telling me not to, so I'm putting it as a semi-honorable mention at the end. We'll talk more about it in the next episode. But with that, we've gone over every skeleton across the Minecraft franchise. Is there something I missed? Please let me know in the comments. The next video in the series is going to be every boss, which should be a fun one. But there will be more videos in the meantime, so be on the lookout for those. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.